Doop-a-doop-a-doo. Let's try this. Today is the 6th of March, and I am just now getting to my March TBR. I'm a little behind, but I have quite the hefty stack that I am hoping to read in March. We'll see if I get to it all, but I do have spring break this month, so hopefully that will get me on my reading game a little bit more. Let's just talk about the books that I am hoping to read in March. I kind of am just going to be pulling from my stack on the floor, so this video is in no particular order. Like I said, it's quite the hefty stack, so let's just get started. The first book that I'm hoping to read is Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. I've never read the whole Twilight series, and I feel like I've missed out on something. What that is, I don't know, but I feel like I've missed out on something. So I'm going to reclaim that and read the whole series. Hopefully I read at least the first book, Twilight. I have the audiobook for this one as well, so hopefully I get through it pretty quickly. But yes, this is the first book I'm hoping to read in March. The second book I'm hoping to read in March is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. I saw it on some video. I don't remember what video it was. Somebody talked about it on a video on YouTube. She sold me on it. So I've had this book for a while now. I've owned it for a couple months and I haven't read it yet. So I figured I might as well give this sucker a chance. And also I've been reading a lot of standalones recently, and I want to start getting back into reading series, and I know that this is the first in a series, so I figure this is a good book to start. Going along with another thriller, the third book that I'm hoping to read this month is The Widow by Fiona Barton. I don't know a ton about this book, admittedly, but it seems intriguing, so I'm planning on reading this for the Tis the Damn Readathon. The next things that I want to read are both YA books. First one is Cinder. It's the first book in the Lunar Chronicle. This is another series that everybody was obsessed with in middle school that I never read. I want to read it to reclaim my childhood and also to start getting back into series again. And I'm hoping I really love this because everybody in middle school hyped this book up so bad. So I'm hoping this lives up to my expectations. And then the next one is just a reread because I'm going to be selling this book actually, and I want to give it one last read before I give it up and take it away from my shelves. I loved this book in middle school, and it's Dorothy Must Die by Danielle Page. The next 3 books I'm going to be reading for a concept paper for my reading and writing critically class. I'm going to be writing about the concept of horror in literature, so I'm going to be analyzing 3 different horror novels in that paper. And so the novels that I chose are Tinfoil Butterfly by Rachel Eve Moulton. This one I don't really know anything about, so this will be fun to read and analyze. The next book that I'm reading is a reread, and that is The Shining by Stephen King. I've only read 3 of King's novels so far. I've read Carrie, Misery, and The Shining, and this one has been my favorite by far. I'm excited to give this one a reread and to also read it a little bit deeper and to get a deeper look at it because I will be analyzing it for that paper. So I'm super excited about this one. And then the last book that I'm reading for that paper is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I feel like this is just a classic horror novel that everybody has to read. I'm excited for the gothic vibes that are in this book. And yeah, overall, I'm just very excited to read all 3 of those books and to analyze them and to learn a little bit more about the horror genre through this paper and through reading these books. The next book I want to read is also for the Tis the Damn Readathon. I'll be doing a whole video about what books I read for what prompts, and then a reading vlog and a wrap up for that, so I'm not going to go too in-depth into it, but this is another book that I'm going to be reading for that readathon. One of the prompts is to read a memoir, so I'm going to be reading Girl Boss by Sophia Amoruso. I've heard so many things about this book, and I've owned it for forever. I thrifted it a while ago, and this should be a pretty quick read, so hopefully I read it in a day or something and just knock it off of my TBR and my readathon list. And then the last 3 physical books that I'm planning on reading in March are all for a video. I'm not going to tell you what the video is because I want to build suspense, but the 3 books that I'll be reading for that are all plays. So the first one is Long Day's Journey into Tonight by Eugene O'Neill. I don't know a ton about this one, but apparently it talks about the wounds of marriage, of parenthood, of sonship, yada yada yada. So I think that this will be a pretty good read. The next one that I'll be reading is Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. I read this my freshman year of high school and I liked it enough, I guess, so I'm excited to read it in a non-academic perspective and see how I like it. And then the last one that I'm going to be reading for that video is the play A Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry. Apparently everybody's read this play already and I just haven't. I didn't know about it until like 3 weeks ago. So I'm really excited for this one because apparently it's very good and yeah. And my camera's gonna die, so I'm gonna wrap this up quick with the audiobooks I plan on listening to. Like I said, I have the audiobook for Twilight that I'll be reading alongside the physical book. And then the other 2 audiobooks that I'm planning on listening to during the month of March are Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng and Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. So that was my March TBR. Like I said, it's quite the ambitious stack, but hopefully I get to everything, or at least mostly everything. Like I said, my camera is going to die, so I'm going to wrap this up quick. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and watching my dumb face. I hope to see you again here in the future.